Tonight, Chief Justice David Maraga is crying foul over a drastic cut in the judiciary's budget, which is expected to severely hamper access to justice by ordinary Kenyans. Maraga says the allocation of 17 billion shillings against a request of 31.2 billion will affect construction of more courts and reforms aimed at easing case backlogs across the country. The CJ spoke in the backdrop of rising animosity between the judiciary against the legislature and the executive. Jackie Maribe kicks off our broadcast with that story.
31.2 billion shillings. That was the request made by the judiciary during the 2018-2019 budget-making process. That allocation, in their calculation, was to cover for their recurrent expenditure to a tune of 19.8 billion and a development budget of 11.4 billion, which would comprise of 8.5 billion shillings funded by government and a World Bank loan of 2.9 billion to cover new and ongoing projects, repairs and maintenance, as well as ICT infrastructure for the courts. Only that amount was slashed by more than half when the budget policy statement was prepared, and the judiciary would then only receive 17.3 billion, broken down as 13.3 billion for recurrent expenditure and 4 billion for development, which would combine only 1 billion from government funding and 2.9 billion from the World Bank loan facility. Much to the dismay of the judiciary, their allocation was further lowered to 14.5 billion when Parliament passed the Appropriation Act. Of this, only 50 million shillings was allocated to development.
There just can't be, in our view, can't be any good reason to impede the work of the judiciary through budget strangulation.
The import of this being the stalling of 41 government-funded projects currently at various stages of completion, including various county law courts with a deficit of 1.9 billion and 29 World Bank-funded projects with a balance of 4.8 billion shillings.
The World Bank is the major development partner, and we have said that they were willing to extend the period, but the Treasury is unwilling to allow them to do that.
Operations of more than 50 mobile courts will stand suspended. The clearance of backlog cases by December of this year will no longer be possible. Modernization of court systems will stop. New constructions, particularly that of the Court of Appeal premises in Upper Hill, Nairobi, Meru and Kisii, will not happen, and operations at the JSC will possibly falter.
We made attempts to reach the authorities concerned, but those have not been successful.
The judiciary has in the recent past been at loggerheads with the executive and the legislature, with the two other organs of government accusing it of interfering with their space. The 2018-2019 budget was in itself ambitious, standing at 3 trillion shillings. But it is these concerns coming from one arm of government that now puts its operations in limbo that brings into question just how reasonable these allocations were. Jackie Maribe, Citizen TV in Nairobi.